Hi guys, welcome to another For the Win MMA interview. Today I'm joined by a man who needs no introduction. I'm with Mr. James Krause. How you doing, James? Good to talk to you.
Good man, just made it here into Vegas. Getting ready to kick off fight week.
That's awesome. Well, you like I said, you're currently in Vegas for UFC Fight Night. You're cornering Derek Minner, I'm sorry, who faces Charles Rosa in the featherweight division. Uh, your guy Derek is a proven finisher with 25 professional wins, 22 coming by way of submission. So, how do you
Yep.
feel about this matchup with Derek? What do you think we're gonna see?
Oh man, I think it's a really good matchup with both guys. They both are jiu-jitsu guys. They both like to be on the ground, but both can strike and both got a decent amount of power too. So this is my second fight with Derek. I feel like we've made a lot of improvements since he's coming over to the gym. So uh, just continue that. More where that came from. I got a 6 week streak where I'm here. Last week was Julian Marquez. This week is Minner. Next week's Kevin Croom. Week after that is
It's Megan,
Megan,
right? Yeah.
Megan and Tim Elliott, and then Jason Witt, Tim Elliott. A couple weeks off, and then I got a kick back off.
So
Did I say wait? Jason Witt, Grant Dawson. Sorry.
you're in a pretty special spot of your career right now, aren't you, James?
I guess that depends on who you're talking to. I mean, I'm good with where I'm at. There's I guess criticism on all sides of it on what I should be doing and what I don't know. I'm happy with what I have going on though. If you're asking me, yeah,
Well, you said in an interview 2 years ago that um, you still find more fulfillment in coaching rather than fighting. Do you still feel that way?
definitely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, if you watched Julian Marquez's fight last week, that's one of many reasons that fulfills me as a coach. Like I got changed his life overnight, and I was a part of it, and whether I'm a big part of it or a small part of it, it doesn't really matter. I think what I'm addicted to are these moments of rawness, of realness. Like the guy changed his life right in front of me, and you could say I think I got to see a moment from him, like a realness from him that nobody else will get to experience. Not even his parents, siblings, none of that. And because I was right there when it happened. So it's unique to watch somebody change their life in front of them and how they react, and how happy they look, and just to even be a small part of that is so fulfilling, man. Like it's just amazing to be a part of somebody changing their life for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that fight was something to behold, man. The Cuban Missile Crisis with the call out.
Yeah.
Let's say, first of all, did your man fumble it afterwards? Do you think that he fumbled it with all
I
the,
don't
the
really know.
Miley
I don't
Cyrus
really know.
situation?
I don't really know. I don't know the details of it or whatever. But after I kind of check out after I didn't even watch the post fight interview. After the fight's over, I kind of check out. I mean, I know he said something. She wrote it back, and I don't know where it went though. I don't follow. I went home for a day or two, and then now I'm back on the road again. So I didn't really have enough time to check in on it. I need to text him though and see where he's at with it.
Well, what I heard is that he kind of fumbled it because he asked Miley to do a henna tattoo of the Cuban Missile Crisis on her belly button or something like that, and she went on social media. She posted a story of like it was a selfie of her saying something like, "This could have been yours, but you're dumb." So
I don't
yeah,
think that was to him though, was it?
I don't know. Maybe the MMA community always trying to connect the dots and trying to figure shit out. So maybe who, maybe not. I
Yeah,
don't know. But yeah, that was an amazing fight, man. Did you expect
yeah.
to see the level of adversity that Julian faced against Maki Pitolo?
Man, Maki's tough. I knew we were in for a fight. That kid's tough. He brings a good fight. Uh, he's a big puncher. He mixes it up well. He tends to fade towards the end though, and I thought I thought that we could the longer the fight went on, I thought would do better for us. So uh, I guess I didn't expect him to he pretty much dominated us for 2 rounds. I didn't expect that. That's for sure. But man, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know what I mean? And that's why they're 15 minutes. That's why the fights are 15 minutes, and that's why you got to last within that 15 minutes. So I mean, it doesn't really matter to me whether we win in the first minute or the last. As long as we win, that's all I give a shit about.
Yeah, well, you said it on the break for the third round. You were with Julian. He was on the stool, and there was this really special conversation which Joe Rogan said, "Well, you potty mouth, James."
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. It is what it is. I love it. How real it was. But there's a few things I wanted to know. First of all, where do you draw your? I don't know if it's inspiration, it's desperation. I don't know how to call it, but
Yep.
there's a special place where you draw this energy from to transmit to your fighter. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One is just knowing your fighter. You know what I mean? Like I know what Julian was showing out there wasn't an accurate depiction of how good he is and what he was capable of. So and you have to know how to talk to your guy or girl. Like some people respond well to being like yelled at and getting their ass like that, and some people don't. So you have to know who you have in front of you, what they have on the table, and how to pull the best out of them. Right? Like I don't. I think people make the mistake of thinking like good coaches make people better, and they obviously do. Right? Like they do make people better, but sometimes I think it's not necessarily them making them better that is I think that's what everybody looks at, right? Like that's what the focus is on. But I think good coaches also make you the best you can possibly be that night, if that makes sense, right? Like if I rated somebody, if I had a fighter in front of me and they were a 7 out of 10 in skill, right? Like a bad coach may bring that fighter in at a 5 out of 7. To whereas I feel like good coaches can bring that in a 7 out of 7 or a 6.5. They get as close to pulling the best out of that person that they possibly can. And I've learned that from my coach Mark Montoya, and he's always brought the best out of me. You know what I mean? Like he's made me better, but he's also made me bring my best stuff to the table. And I draw a lot of inspiration, coaching, and leadership from him. And then as well as my own. I've been doing this for a long time, so for Julian, I know, dude. There was never a point in that fight. I wish they could show the whole corner, like the whole fight of me in the corner. Like I'm saying this, like we're still in this, like we can still finish this fight. I knew there was never a point, even at that last minute, there was never a point where I felt like we couldn't still win. And I think that's just from knowing what Julian's capable of and what type of fighter I have in front of me.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect segue because I was about to ask you about that. If you had any moment in the corner talking to the guys, like we might be like really losing this.
Oh, I know we were losing it. I mean, we were down 0-2, 0-3.
I mean,
We would have
what
lost
I'm
the last
what I'm
round
trying
too.
to say is that when you gave that guy the ultimatum, like if it's not a finish, it doesn't count. That's some power for shit to say to a guy who's 2 rounds down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what you need. You need powerful shit to get your ass off the stool and do something about it. You know what I mean? Like that's just what I mean. The alternative to that is be like, hey, you're down 0-2. Well, no shit, I'm down 0-2. I've been getting beat up for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like he knows he's down 0-2. I told him in the rounds he was down the first round. He knew he lost the second round. I don't. That's irrelevant information. Like we know we're down. You know what I mean? Like it's. And I was very clear about that. I think I don't think I beat around the bush. I'm very clear with my fighter on where I think they're at in the fight. And that doesn't but that's false. That's not good coaching. You know what I mean? That's if I were it's me. My job is to pull the best out of him, physically, mentally, and technically. Like what do we need to do to win? And dude, as far as I could see, we needed to land a couple straight punches in a row. That's all we needed to do is to put some punches on this guy because he was fading hard. In the second we were on top of him, we had him turtled up, and he just wasn't moving. And Julian got a little high, and I feel like we could have finished the fight at that point too. But that told me like he's hurt and he's tired. So if we put a couple big punches on him, I feel like this kid's gonna do make a stupid move here, and
Yeah,
we're gonna be
he
able to
might fold.
capitalize.
Right. Well, that was an amazing experience, no doubt. What was the feeling afterwards, right after
Oh
the call
man,
out and all
it's
that?
amazing. You could see the immediate hug. You know what I mean? Like I know what was on the table. He's had 31 months off. I mean, he going through multiple surgeries, battling injuries. He gained shit. He was 250 plus pounds. He came and stayed with me at my house for a couple months whenever he moved back to Kansas City because he didn't have a place to stay yet. Man, I know what he's been through, and it was a really special moment for me to even be a little part of that. And I feel like at times he's felt like people has stopped believing in him and what he can do, and That's not my job. My job is to make sure that he can be the best he can be everywhere, mentally, physically, technically. And I believe in him. And he'll tell you we had a long road, man. I was kind of mean to him when he first came to me, to be honest with you, because I didn't really want him. And but man, he's grown on me a lot. He's matured a ton since coming back home, and everybody in my gym loves having him, including myself. He's really changed his life around, not just in fighting, but his whole entire life. His attitude, his maturity level has changed around since coming back home.
Yeah, absolutely. I could tell. And that picture you were mentioning is it's a really beautiful testament of what happened in that fight. It was not only the fighter, but it was one of those fights when you can see right there, right then, how much of an effect a coach can have in a fighter in a situation like that. So let's switch a little bit. Kevin is fighting soon. How do you feel Kevin is coming up? Kevin Croom, he's fighting
Yeah.
Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy soon.
Yep.
And, well, how is everything going with Kevin?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Kevin's the best he's ever looked right now. I mean, he looks amazing. He's tough. His striking's getting better. His grappling's getting better. He is. I think, I think he hit a pivotal point in that fight. With Roosevelt Roberts, it's like you always know. I think as a fighter, you know that you can be on that level. You know what I mean? You have the skills to be there. Uh, but it's like now he knows for sure. You know what I mean? Like now, like he believed before, but now he knows. You know what I mean? He believed before, now he knows. So now that he knows, I'm really interested to see what he's gonna do, because it was just like somebody, if he's a creative player character on a video game, his stats just shot up overnight after that win over Roosevelt. It was a big win out of his weight class. He can make 35 easily. I mean, not easily, easily.
Is that on
And
the plans sometimes?
we've talked about it. It's one fight at a time, obviously, but we're gonna have another after Roosevelt. We discussed going to 35, and we decided to stay at 45 and said we're gonna sit down after this fight and have another discussion to see if that's something we want to do. I mean, he's like 20 pounds over right now, over 35 right now,
Oh,
so
okay.
he can for sure make it. And he's still cheating on his diet because he can at 45. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
can, he has that ability. So uh also there's something to having quality of life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that kid has a fun personality. I had the
Yeah,
chance to talk to him, and he's a funny guy. He's a bit of a dweeb, but
he's a psychopath,
in a
man.
great way, right?
Yeah, complete
Yeah,
psychopath.
yeah. Well, best of luck to Kevin, my man. And let's switch up again. Well, Megan is fighting for the title. It's one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight of her career. Uh,
Definitely the biggest.
how do you see Megan being prepared? Because she was, I don't know if intentionally or not, but the promotion kind of groomed her to be one of the next big challenges for the champ, Amanda Nunes. And, well, she's training with you. I've seen a lot of videos of her being like a complete beast with the rest of the team. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on how that process is going along and what do you guys expect from Amanda?
I mean, she looks incredible right now. We can't ask for anything else. I think she's by far the best she's ever looked as well. I mean, it just seems like we've been in a training camp for like 6 months now. So she's definitely definitely ready to fight. There's no doubt about that. She's kind of tired of training, and she's just ready to get it over with, because we've had a date set, it got canceled, rescheduled. It's just been kind of a back and forth deal. But I mean, she looks great. Obviously we have a tall order ahead of us, but man, it's just as a coach, like I just don't buy into that stuff anymore. Like I
Like,
watch
you
these
mean
fights
the
every
aura
week.
of invincibility and that kind of things?
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Every week you watch on here, you see somebody that's like a huge underdog win. You know what I mean? And it's just
Right.
like it's always impossible. Everybody, oh, on fight week, it's impossible. There's no way. There's no way. And then after it happens, it's like, oh yeah, I see. I could have seen that. Like, dude, it's always impossible until it's not. You know what I mean? So like, I don't pay any attention to these people and what they say or the odds or any of that bullshit. Like, that's all opinions. You know what I mean? Like, none of that shit matters when you get in there and you start fighting somebody. So we know we have a tall order ahead of us, though. But we don't have anything to lose. You know what I mean? Like, she's ready. She's the best she's ever looked, and I think we bring some good skills to the table, man. I think if Amanda kickboxes with her, I think we're gonna see some we're gonna see some fireworks. And we've worked really hard on the wrestling as well. She's looking great everywhere, man. I can't complain. We're as ready as we're going to be for this fight. There's no like coming in injured or this or that. She's as ready as she's going to be to fight Amanda Nunes. No doubt about that.
Well, that's amazing to hear, and that card would be amazing to have if the MMA gods take mercy on us, man, because you know what happens when you stack title fights over title fights over title fights. Something starts to shake and somebody ends up losing its position.
I feel like we're gonna make it to this one though, because if you think about it, two of these three have already been rebooked. This is the rebooking of two of those three.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, hopefully I hope we don't get Hamzat. Yeah. Sorry for that guy, man. He had a tough outing, right? So, well, let's shift it up again. You're one of those big names for the fans who always love your performances, especially under gangster circumstances. 24 hours notice, no problem. Consistently delivering exciting performances, check. You went 1-1 last year, but you had a performance of the night too. So, what are your plans in terms of competing this year for you?
I mean, probably fight once or twice like I normally do. I just enjoy competing still. I enjoy making money. I would like to fight, somebody, maybe an old school guy with a bigger name.
Someone we'll like who? Who do you have in mind?
Diego Sanchez called me out, so I was all game for that. But he just took the Cowboy fight, so that's not happening. Respectfully, like somebody like Carlos Condit, like an old school guy like that.
Wow,
like
that would be a banger of a fight. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's something I'd love to see.
I have nothing but respect for the guy. You know what I mean? Like, but somebody like that. He's just the first name that came to mind. Somebody that's been around for a long time and has a good name, and I just enjoy. For me, I don't really care about the rankings or working up the rank. I don't care about titles and none of that bullshit. Like, I love to compete still, and those type of fights get me a little bit more fired up.
Well, I love that you mentioned that you don't have any sort of special contemplation for titles, because that's something I wanted to ask you. Does this disregard for title shots or all that in any way, does it take pressure out of you to perform?
There's no pressure either way. I mean, pressure is kind of a made up thing to me. It's made up in your own head. Like, it's not a real thing. Like, at the end of the day, if you look at our careers as fighters as a whole, this is a small portion of our life anyway. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's not even. I try to tell these younger guys coming in, it's like, it's not as big of a deal as you think it is. You know what I mean? Like, don't put a bunch of unnecessary pressure on yourself. Of course, like the pressure that we feel is our ego. We don't want to lose. We don't want to be embarrassed. It's our emotions. You know what I mean? Like, it's that fight or flight kicking in, and it's just, we don't want to lose in front of our loved ones is what it boils down to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And nobody does. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody likes losing, but it's I think for males especially, it's kind of the primitive end of the line. You know what I mean? It's like, I've said this before, but it's like, okay, like I could say, hey, I have more money than you. You say, oh, I'm stronger, oh, I'm faster, my girl's hotter, but it stops with, I can beat you up. You know what I mean? It doesn't go past that. So it's like, that trumps everything. So if I can beat you up, it's kind of the end of the line for us as a male. I think that's for a lot of us, it's like, shit, he's got me. So but yeah, the pressure is just, we care, we don't want to lose, and who does?
Yeah, nobody does. Well, you were talking about guys with an anxious feeling of fighting you. You mentioned Diego, and there's this other guy, Joaquin Buckley, who started trying to make the waves with you. I was gonna ask you beforehand if you were interested in ever fighting Joaquin Buckley, but you know what? You mentioned Carlos Condit, and I could take that fight over Joaquin any day.
Oh, I've asked for the Buckley fight. I've asked for the Buckley fight. Yeah, I've asked for it multiple times. They don't want to make it happen. The UFC doesn't want it.
Well, they don't want to put anyone in harm's way. It's a difficult choice to make with guys like Joaquin and yourself, that you're always going in the upward direction. Let's do something else real quick. What's the biggest question that no one has ever asked you regarding cryptocurrency? Because we all know on social media that you're a guy who's into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, not Dogecoin though.
No, I
But
mean, I don't have anything against it. I just don't know. I know what I know. You know what I mean? I don't know enough about it. I know people like everybody that I know that's doing well in that is kind of day trading it. You know what I
right,
mean? They're not really. They're not really. They're not. Nobody's saying, "Hey, I'm staying in Dogecoin." You know what I mean? Like nobody's really doing that.
right.
It's kind of a short term thing.
Well, what I wanted to ask you is, well, there's a lot of people who flood your DMs with the latest tip, right? I'm pretty sure they're like, what do I buy? Do I sell? But what would you like to be asked in that terms? What do you think that people should be asking in terms of cryptocurrency?
Uh, I think for me, like what it was is like understanding the why, right? Like why are we shifting to this? Because it's kind of it's a difficult concept to get. And I'll be honest, like uh, when I first heard about this, which would have been back in shit, I don't know. It was probably like 7, 8 grand whenever I like a coin,
Right.
whenever I first like seriously looked at it, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna do this. The banks won't get behind it. It's like the government won't get behind it. The banks won't get behind it." And now when you ask me like, "Hey, why are you in this?" It's because for that exact reason. The government can't get behind it. The banks can't get behind it. There's it's not that they don't have control over it like they do, the fiat money or whatever. So,
Yeah.
uh, for me, I think also understanding the technology behind it is just far superior than what we're using now. I mean, like the way I always explain it is imagine like if like if we took you and we put you back into the 90s and I said, "Hey man, I have this thing called a VHS player. Would you invest in the VHS?" And you're going to be like, "Fuck no, I'm not going to invest in that because I know that DVDs are on the way soon, right?"
Right.
And I said, "Okay, cool. Well, if you invest in DVDs, would you do that?" And you say,
Absolutely.
"No, I
Yeah.
know Blu-rays are on the
Right.
way. Blu-ray players on the way." I said, "Okay, well let's invest in Blu-rays then." No, I know streaming's on the way now, right? And it just then that's what we're dealing with right now. We're in the VHS of currency. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're just it's a far outdated, and I think crypto is going to be a much more efficient way to handle things. And I don't think it's going to like replace the US dollar. I'm not a weirdo, man. I feel like when I get talking about this, like people think I'm some like conspiracy dude that the dollar's going. It's never going to go anywhere, right? Like, but I do see Bitcoin becoming a commodity similar to gold, and there's going to be value in that. There will be value in that. And for me, it's like I might as well invest my money in this because to me, money in the savings account is money lost. If you look at the inflation rate last year, or I'm sorry, this year is like 2.27%. What's your return rate on a savings account? 0.000025 if you're lucky, right?
Right.
So if you put your money in a savings account and you leave it there, you're going to lose money. It's a fact.
Well, you see, guys, in Fordewin, not only you get the best fight analysis, but you also get sound financial advice from my man James Krause. James, I wanted to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being here with me today, and best of luck on everything that's coming your way, man. It's going to be an
Thank you.
amazing 2021 for you guys and the rest of the team at Glory MMA Fitness, and I'm just elated to see you succeed the way you are right now.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. If you want to say something to your Chilean or South American fans, now's the chance, man.
I just appreciate all you guys. Appreciate the love and the hate sometimes. Thank you guys very much. Just support. I appreciate it a ton.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you, guys. See you in the next one.